is tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in 4 straight. It was a sweep.
In the dirt, it's a wild pitch. Here comes Walker. The Reds win the pennant.
Larkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome Joe Randa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded. The outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on. Long drive. Right field. And this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive. Hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive. Left center field. Racing back to the line. Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champion. In the air, left center field. Did he? Did he? He did. He did. Reds win. Reds win. Line to the right field. Junior, the first Red ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, my God. Are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream to get into the career of Jay Bruce.
Finnegan delivers. And Benson swings. Fly ball pretty well hit to center. Robles back at the wall. Looks up. It's gone. Will Benson has tied it up with a home run into the Reds bullpen. You have got to be kidding me. Oh, my goodness. The 0-1. This ball's hammered to left. There it goes. Gone! Christian Encarnacion Strand's first hit of 2024 is a walk-off homer. I just can't believe that. Back-to-back jacks. Benson, CES, Reds win.
You better believe it, Cowboy. You better believe it. And I'll tell you right now, only on God's day, and by God's day, I mean Jesus' day, are we maybe thankful, this whole system that I have down here, thankful that we weren't on the air. Because it would have been ruined. There would have been beverages, Pilsners, all over the place. I was watching it in real time, obviously, like probably all of us. And I just want to say we do have those two calls, but there's one guy that started it all. And that was Jonathan India, the leader. Might not be able to play a lick of second base, but by God, he's a leader, and I respect the hell out of him. And I do appreciate everything that he did to start that ninth inning off. So the captain did it. We'll talk about him. We'll talk about the box score. We'll talk about it all on this edition of a winning edition of Chatterbox Reds. Nick, glad to see you. You look great on this Easter Sunday. Neither one of us came in with pastels. I think that's how you say it. I mean, it might be something else. I don't know at this point, but shame on us for that. But what a lovely Easter Sunday it has been.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at first I was a little bummed that we weren't live on the air for that incredible ninth inning. But you know what? I think because we made an attempt to be good fathers, to be good husbands, the Cincinnati Reds and the baseball gods rewarded us on this Easter Sunday. So I don't think without our commitment, it happens. That's just my opinion on this.
Fair enough. Your mouth and microphone, it might be off tonight. I don't know. We'll see. I mean, who knows where it's at. If it fixes itself, it fixes itself. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I got to be honest. I'm looking at you. Your microphone, way off. It looks like Nick's going to try to go back out, come back in. He's going to try to get it fixed. But nonetheless, maybe that's just the way it's going to have to be. Maybe you fixed it, though. Maybe you fixed it. Say something. No. Now you're like muted. We're all over the place. You said Sunday, by the way. Just want you to know. You put the precedent out there. You put the precedent out there that we were going to have this all squared away by Sunday. That's true. All right, now your audio's at least back at this point. So, who knows what's going on? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm just going to try not to pay attention to you because it's like it's making my brain's already not fast enough. This is going to make it even slower. All right, let's get right into it. There's a lot to talk about to a certain extent here. We certainly had half the Reds fan base. The season was over, if we're being honest. Rightfully understood to a certain extent for the overreactor group. You're playing the Nationals at home and you lose the series, coupled by the fact that you lost a game yesterday that you felt like you should have probably won because you played horribly and you still had chances to win. And then you fast forward to today. And I said something yesterday, Nick, that hopefully at the end of the season, you can look back and they all balance themselves out. You know, you win some games you're not supposed to. You lose some games that you probably should have won. Well, we're 1-1. We're 1-1, Nick.
I actually think that yesterday didn't deserve to win. I thought the defense was atrocious yesterday. I thought there was plenty of chances they didn't take. I actually thought today they deserved to win more. If you look at like expected stats, like the Reds' expected batting average was like 100 points higher than the Nationals. They had a lot of hard hits against Irvin that just didn't fall. Grinded with a lot of double plays. And so it is kind of one of those things that evens it out. But I was ready. I was firing, ready to come with all the expected stats tonight and ready to roll. But nonetheless, the Phillies got done. I got to be honest, Trace. I almost am more relieved that the Reds won just for the sheer fan base than like my actual enjoyment. I don't know if that's a me problem, but that's kind of how I felt.
No, I mean, listen, when you do a show like this, right, and you're here every single day, the last thing you want to do is start the season off losing to the Nationals, 2 of 3. And, whether it would make or break the year, I don't know. But ultimately, the vibes would have been incredibly low without question. But that's not what happened. So, you know what? There was something I heard today at the end of the game by a guy. Its first name starts with Christian. And that hasn't been lost on me. But Encarnacion Strand said at the end of the game, what did he say? He said, almost doesn't count. I think that's the phrase he used. Almost doesn't count. So, even though they almost lost, it doesn't matter. And we'll move forward. Won the series, 2-1 on the year. And let's get into a box score recap, if you have that ready to roll, Nick.
We sure do. All right, so Reds and Nationals, the rubber game of the 3-game series on Sunday. Nick Martinez making his Cincinnati Reds debut. There was no score going into the third inning. Martinez gave up a solo home run to C.J. Abrams. It was certainly not a cheap one. 429 feet, 107 off the bat. That made it 1-0 Nats. But the Reds responded in the bottom of the third. Spencer Steer and Nick Martini walked. A Jonathan India RBI groundout tied it at 1. And then a Benson RBI double made it 2-1 Reds. Reds picked up another run in the fourth on an Ellie De La Cruz triple and a Spencer Steer single to make it 3-1. Martinez would give up 3 singles in the top of the fifth. The Nats tied it up at 3. Nick Martinez's final line in his Cincinnati Reds debut, 5 innings pitched, 6 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, 3 strikeouts. He did give up that 1 home run. Reds would ground into double plays in the 5th, 6th, and 7th inning. And in the top of the 7th, Buck Farmer came in, gave up a leadoff home run to Trey Lipscomb and made it 4-3 Nationals. It was a tough one, just out of the reach of center fielder Will Benson. It was only a home run according to StatCast at Great American Ballpark, Dodger Stadium, and Angel Stadium. And also the first career home run for Mr. Trey Lipscomb. Buck Farmer would end up loading the bases in that inning, but somehow worked his way out of it without any further damage when he struck out Keibert Ruiz to end the top of the 7th. In the top of the 8th, TJ Antone came in, and he just flat out did not have it. He gave up a double and then a pair of walks to load the bases. Fernando Cruz came in, got out of the inning, only allowing a sac fly, 5-3 Nats. Really big job by Fernando Cruz, especially as this game played out. All right, we move to the bottom of the 9th. Jonathan India came to the plate, 2 outs, bases empty, Reds down 5-3. Looks like the Reds are about to lose 2 of 3 to the lowly Washington Nationals. Jonathan India had an incredible at-bat, 10 pitches, including a ball that rolled down the third base line. Looked like it was going to be an easy hit, but then it rolled foul at the last second. Just kind of felt like, well, just really not the Reds' day. But India rebounded, and he doubled down the left field line. And then Will Benson came to the plate, smoked a first pitch splitter, 411 feet out of the park to center field, tied the game at 5. And that brought Christian Encarnacion straight to the plate. He was 0 for 12 on the young season, and it grounded into 2 double plays earlier in the game. He took all his frustration out on an 0-1 slider, hitting the ball a new career best 113 miles per hour out of the park to left field. Reds win 6-5 and improve to 2-1 on the season. And Trace, our DSC deep drive of the day was Will Benson's home run. That was the furthest ball hit by a Red, 411 feet, 109 off the bat. Increased the Reds' win probability by 48.7%. And our deep drive of the day is sponsored by Deep South Commodities. DSC is a leader and this is always to our friends at DSC.
So here's the thing. Nick's usually I'm gonna give a little inside baseball here on this show. Here's how it usually goes, and I'm sure you're not surprised, right? Nick usually is he's inside the space. So as soon as I log in, there's Nick's face. 95 out of 100 times, Nick's in the space. Today, I look down at my phone. We're 1 minute from going on air. Nick's not to be found. He's gone. I'm like, what's going on? Where is he at? I don't know if he's playing some cruel joke on me, what it may be. He finally loads in. He then drops a, hey, I don't know what's going on. My computer had an update, blah, 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 blah. Next thing you know, now Nick, by the way, we have 400 concurrent in here on a Sunday night, Easter Sunday night after a big win. I get it, but what in the world is going on with this show? Okay? I just want to say we will get better. This is the bottom of the totem pole right now of Chatterbox Reds. If you're just starting to watch this show, we're just heating up. The problem is Nick's microphone, it works half the time, doesn't work half the time. He's like 6 seconds off. I don't know what's going on. He's probably going to start unplugging, plugging things back in at this point. I might have to carry the show. If I have to carry the show, I'm going to start off by saying Buck Farmer, okay? Buck Farmer, when everybody was laughing at me last year, like, I don't know, Trace, you probably shouldn't trade Buck Farmer. He's one of the best arms we got. I'm like, I don't know. I see some rumors on the trade mill that this guy's got some value. I don't know. I might want to give him up now while he's got a little bit of value. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know. The guy might be lurking in Triple-A here soon. And I get it. He doesn't have options. But guess what, Nick? When you put a guy through the, when you call it DFA, they got to go through waivers. I I don't know. I could be wrong, but I think he's going to clear it with flying colors. We'll see. Are you going to be a Farmer Stan, by the way, before we get into Jonathan India? Oh, I got to hold on. Now, this is him. He's going to buy some time here. You're all the way back now.
All right. I was plugging some stuff in. I figured I better reset before we do it.
All right.
So how bad was that box score recap?
No, the box score recap was fantastic, and then they pulled the plug on you about halfway through your DSC. So DSC is a leader in renewable energy. That's where you're going.
Commodities.
Yes, commodities.
All right, so we made it through the whole box score recap.
100%. Yes,
okay,
we did.
Okay.
Yes, we did.
Well, see, the problem is, Trace, not to get off topic here, but I have to not focus on the chat or even you when I'm reading that.
I know you're locked in,
or I'll lose it. And
right,
we don't need another Fenway Park Boston repeat.
I do. I know what you're talking about.
That's happened. It's I got to be locked in. So I was a little nervous. I'm doing I hope I'm being heard, but I can't stop. If I stop, it's even going to be worse. So
no.
But anyways, Buck Farmer was bad. TJ Anton was worse though. Look, I'll just come out. We'll come out flying. I guess today. You got to send TJ Anton down to Triple-A. You got to call up Tony Santillan. Let's get him to Philly tomorrow.
Which is a wild turn of events because if you'd asked me towards the end of last year, is Santillan going to ever see a Reds uniform again? My answer would have been a very quick no. Which is a good segue into Jonathan India because we sent probably half the season here, half the games. His name would get brought up half the time. And inevitably, half the time it got brought up, then half of that time. So now if you're keeping up with the math, we're talking a quarter of the time. A quarter of the time, Jonathan India would be talked about with the trade rumor, if you want to call it that. I'll be the first to admit, I think sometimes you can get ahead of yourselves when it comes to having big league talent on your team in being able to get yourself in a position where a headspace where you're ready to move on, or you're saying, okay, we got this prospect coming up. I love Matt McLain. Matt McLain, honestly, is probably my favorite of the young core. I thought he's probably going to be the best consistent player we had. But at this point, again, I'm not hoping for this, but it's safe to say that there's some type of injury-prone concern I have, right? You have the oblique, then you kind of have the shoulder now, and all of a sudden it just spirals out of control, and last season he missed time. So here's where we are. For those that say that Jonathan India should have been traded no matter what last season, we were wrong, okay? And I don't know if we ever said he should have been traded no matter what, but I'm just glad that they didn't get a couple AA prospects out of it because the Reds would be in a world of hurt right now without him. And I got to say, he's been a gamer since he's been here. And I think from whether he's changed his attitude or whether it's just the opportunity presented itself where he has to play second base from time to time, I'm just thankful that he's on our team. Put it that way. I wanted to get out in front of that and say that before people wanted to suggest all year long that we're not Jonathan India guys. I mean, I'm not saying that you are. You do stray him every so often about his defense at second base. However, might be rightfully so. But my point is, I'm on the Jonathan India bandwagon, and I'm going to stay there. I'm going to stay there no matter what, unless he plays second base a lot.
Unless he plays second base and Matt McLain's an option, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's about where I'd be at. No, Jonathan India deserves a ton of credit. He came to camp with a positive attitude, at least publicly. It would have been really easy for Jonathan India to have kind of, not been like that terrible attitude, but kind of, thrown a few little strays here and there and whatnot.
Correct.
He had an incredible attitude. It wasn't this whole, now you need me at second base thing after you played me all spring. He took the opportunities, run with it. He's had quality at bats. So far, he's been absolutely fine in the field, which to his credit, didn't play that hardly at all throughout the entire spring. I'm not going to back down. I do think it will catch up with the Reds if he plays second base forever. But right now, I guess the Reds don't really have a whole lot of options at this point. But I'm happy that Jonathan India's in the lineup. He had an incredible series against the Nats. And right now, the Reds absolutely need him. So, let's roll.
Noah Brown just threw in a super chat to fund your new mic. So I don't think it was a mic thing. I think it was a software thing, to be honest with you. But I just want to say this. I do believe that some things happen for a reason, right? I cracked open no free ads, a banquet of beers. And inside the cap, I didn't know, but they have inspirational messages. And it just so happened that when we're talking about Jonathan India, I looked down at my cap. Now, this is going to be hard. I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. Come on, focus. Can you read that? You can read that.
No, I can't because my other camera's in the way.
The chat can read it. I'll tell you. It says what you're made of matters. And that's what Jonathan India is made of. He's made of leadership qualities, and he could have played the sour grape card. He really could have. He could have come into camp and been like, nah, I'm an outfielder. I don't think that I've been working on outfield the whole year. I'm not really concerned about playing second base. And then he could have kind of like been just snarky about it the entire time. He's not been that. He's been a team guy. He's been all class. I give him all the credit in the world. I really do. And by God, what an at-bat he had in the ninth inning. And he battled on some good pitches, fouled him off, and laced the double down the left field line. Ultimately led to the opportunities that the other guys got, and they capitalized as well. But no Jonathan India, there's no Will Benson home run, and clearly there's no CES walk-off, and there's no win. So shout out again to Jonathan India. Anything else to add with the big leader, the captain?
Well, in that spot, it just would have been so easy to just say, all right, well, it's not our day. Everything's gone against us, especially after that ground ball. Like, it's like, oh, yes, he's going to get on base. Will Benson's going to get a chance. And then the ball just somehow just went the other way. Like, it was wild ground ball. Looked for sure like it was going to be an easy hit. Reds were going to finally catch a break after not catching a lot of breaks all day. But Jonathan had a hell of an at-bat and gave Will Benson a chance, and you give Will Benson a chance, and
yes.
This guy keeps making it happen.
Will Benson, we did the pregame show, right? We did the show right before opening day, and we all went around the room and we're like, who's got the highest WAR? And I was just trying to think of what are some guys that are going to steal some bags. Maybe they can make some plays, obviously, from an outfield perspective or wherever they play defensively, and they could either be neutral and or plus there, and then maybe they just explode offensively. And I just subconsciously, I said Will Benson. And then all of a sudden, like after the show was over, I think I looked over at you and I was like, did I say Will Benson was going to have the highest WAR on this team? And then even today, my son asked me, he's like, who's the best player on the Reds? And I honestly had to sit there, like, for a while. Like, I don't know if you can make the case 3 or 4 guys are the best player on the Reds. Genuinely. And Will Benson at this point is a part of that conversation. And what's crazy about all that is that last year at this time, everybody was begging for him to get shipped away. I mean, he looked lost. He looked lost. But again, I don't want to overreact. We're 3 games in, but we are in a position now where I'm starting to believe that Will Benson's actually a dude. Like he's a good player. Great player is probably a little absurd to say, but he's a good player. And we'll see where it ultimately ends up. But he looked like he wanted to be in that moment today. Then when he got that at bat.
Yeah, I mean, he just absolutely thrives in those moments. Wants to be there. Wants to be up at the plate. I don't know what the ceiling is for Will Benson. It feels like it just keeps creeping up and up and up and up. He so far he's played a pretty solid center field defense. I mean, he hasn't had I don't think a whole lot of challenging plays, but he's looked comfortable. I haven't saw him like getting bad breaks on balls or anything like that. So if he can play center field and play at a decent level at Great American Ballpark, that in itself raises his ceiling. Now, obviously, we're hoping TJ Friedl comes back and moves him to the corner, but just having that ability really raises him to a level because I didn't think he had it in him. I thought this was going to be rough because he had some times last year where he looked pretty rough in the corners. But, 3 games, you don't want to make a huge deal about it, but he's looked really good out there so far.
He has. I mean, it's a wild thing. This team's crazy, man. I mean, I don't know. When he asked me that question, I started thinking about who the best player was. Inevitably, after about a full 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes of thinking, I started to think, man, is this team good? Is this team like good? If I have to sit here and think this hard about who our best player is, is this a good team, or am I biased? I'm always concerned about the blinders that I might have on when it comes to this club. But I don't know. Maybe they just they got a lot of good players. They don't have any great players maybe yet, but they have a lot of good players, and hopefully at some point that will all catch itself up, and maybe Ellie will become great. Spencer Steer's a guy that, again, he continues to be somebody that looks comfortable at the plate. Let's face it, too. This game, there was some situations where it didn't go the Reds' way, right? I mean, Ellie basically hits a triple after Fraley gets himself caught on the base paths because he's trying to time up the pitch clock situation there, which I don't hate. I mean, if we're going to be aggressive, we talked about this last year, if we're going to be aggressive, those things are going to happen, but it does burn a little bit when guy gets caught stealing. Next thing you know, you get basically a triple, and then all of a sudden Steer laces one up the middle, and you're starting to think, man, we should have had a couple extra runs here. But yeah, shout out to Will Benson. And then obviously that led to CES. Slow start, fair to say, slow start, but that's what CES brings. He's got just pure raw power. I mean, the kid is going to run. I think what's the basement floor? If CES gets a full season and is healthy, I may look like an idiot for saying this, but I think his basement floor is like 30 home runs, man.
I was going to say 25, so I'm I'm right there with you. Well, with CES, look, when you start 0 for 12 at the beginning of the season, it feels monumental. It feels like it's such a huge deal. If this happens in June, it's not even a footnote. It's probably not even on the broadcasters get their sheets before the game. Probably not even they don't even call that that big of a slump. It's 3 games, right? Yep. But when it's the first 3 games and you look up and it says 0-0-0 in every single category, it feels monumental. But no, I think CES is absolutely the one guy that at the end of the year I feel most confident is going to be an above average hitter. Now, the question is he going to be a guy that has like a 110 OPS plus, or is he going to be a guy that has a 130, 140 OPS plus? That's kind of where I'm waiting to see, but he's going to run into a lot of home runs this year, especially in that ballpark. I'm excited. I'm excited for him. Just like that had to feel really good, man. You start 0 for 12, and then you have a walk-off home run, and it literally everything is washed away in an instant. It's funny how the game of baseball, especially early in the year, the margin between success and failure is really razor thin.
Incredibly thin. Drew Garrison says, "Happy Easter, boys. Thanks for helping me learn the squad as a casual."
I don't think he's a casual at this point. I mean, if you watched our show all year, you're not casual.
I don't think so. I think you're ahead of the game. The one thing, though, about OPS Plus, some folks that might not, that are casuals might not understand what that stat it genuinely is. OPS Plus is essentially, for the layman's terms, it takes the averages throughout Major League Baseball. That is your baseline, which is 100. So anything over 100, you're an above average hitter in Major League Baseball. Anything below 100, you'd be a below average hitter. So the difference between 110 and 130 is basically 20% better than the rest of whatever 110 would be. So that's sizable. That's a pretty considerable amount. We'll see ultimately where CES ends up, where he lands. I just, again, you let the chips fall where they may. You let the young guys figure it out, if you want to call it that. I'm not going to overreact with any of these young guys too quickly, but CES has to hopefully get him going a little bit here, and he puts down some of that stress. Because let's face it, CES and Will Benson-ish kind of are in the same spot, right? Will Benson finally got his first real opportunity on a big league club last season on opening day. He pressed. Got sent down to the minor leagues. Again, whatever you're going to call it, maybe he was reset, came back up, and was great. I was hoping that wasn't going to happen to CES is what I'm getting at. So we shall find out. Moving forward, we have more obviously to get to. Game Time. For those that don't know, Game Time's a national company that sells tickets. They took a chance on us small guys. I think genuinely, I've said this time and time again, we're the smallest company that they've ever worked with. And you can help support us by downloading the Game Time app and using the code CINCY, that's CINCY, on your very first purchase. You get $20 off. And I'll be honest, I've used the app like 3 or 4 times, Nick. And quite honestly, like the last month, I've used it 3 or 4 times. And you can click all-in pricing right there at the top, so you don't have to guess about what the fees are at the end. And it shows you exactly what your seat looks like when you click on the seat, and then it delivers your tickets instantaneously. I think I had to wait like maybe 4 or 5 minutes before it got delivered in the ballpark app, and off I was. So, again, Game Time, download it, use the code CINCY, that's CINCY, you get $20 off your first purchase, and you also are helping us out. Nick Martinez, I put a tweet out, Nick. I'm sure you've seen it. I think, and again, I'm predicating all of this off the fact that I think that David Bell wanted Nick Martinez to be in the bullpen. If it was a perfect world and the Reds wanted it to go exactly how they wanted it to go from the very start, Nick Martinez is one of their more reliable bullpen arms. Instead, you get a couple injuries. You get in a spot where you want to make sure that you have somebody that you can trust in the starting rotation, so they stick Nick Martinez in there. Unless Andrew Abbott lays an egg, I think that when Lodolo comes back, which I know I don't want to spoil it, we'll get to him in a second, they're going to obviously have to shift somebody out. I think they'll just move Nick Martinez to the bullpen, largely because I'm not saying he fully deserves he has to go to the bullpen, but unless he's going to be lights out, I think that they'd rather make the easy decision to move him to the bullpen. And I think from a depth perspective, that would be the smart move instead of sending Andrew Abbott down, especially when you add in Brandon Williamson coming back at some point. Starting pitching depth is great. Bullpen, maybe not as much. Your thoughts on Nick Martinez?
Yeah, I thought Martinez was fine. I mean, I think that's kind of what you probably expect out of Nick Martinez, is a guy that's going to, hopefully go 5-6 innings, is going to keep you in the game. That's what he did today. The thing I like about Martinez is he doesn't walk guys. He throws strikes. He attacks hitters. He also earned it because he had a great spring, a incredible spring. He looked it was the best pitcher this spring among anyone that was competing for a starting spot. So he earned this opportunity. The other thing you want to consider here is, the whole long-term future with Nick Martinez. So it's all really going to come down to how does Andrew Abbott pitch. Andrew Abbott's going to get 2 starts. If Andrew Abbott pitches well, then yeah, you move Nick Martinez to the bullpen. It's easy said and done, but I'm not convinced Andrew Abbott's going to come out and shove. So if Andrew Abbott comes out, and it's a really tough start for him going up against the Phillies, got some really good right-handed bats in that lineup, so it's not easy. But if Andrew Abbott gets beat around, I'm not hesitating to send Andrew Abbott down to Triple-A and keep Nick Martinez in the starting rotation. And it should be noted, Nick Martinez has better projection numbers than Andrew Abbott does this year. Nick Martinez actually has better projection numbers than a lot of the pitchers in the rotation. Now, he's probably getting a little bit of a boost because I know they factor some of this in, but how well they're able to factor it in, I don't really know the answer to. But a lot of his innings in the past have come as a reliever, so it's a little easier to maintain good numbers as a reliever over a long term. But the projection numbers like Nick Martinez better. So if Andrew Abbott comes out, pitches bad the next 2 times, I'm sticking with Nick Martinez because I feel confident that he's going to keep you in games, and he's going to be a major league starter. But Andrew Abbott, I think, definitely probably has a higher ceiling at the same time as well, and Nick Martinez can help your bullpen.
Yeah, I think it's an easier solution at the end of the day. And it's nothing against Nick Martinez being able to be a starter. It's more or less, where do you need help? And I think the same reason as to why you say, hey, guys are going to get sent down because they have options is not because they're the worst pitcher on the staff. It's because they have options. If Buck Farmer had options, guess what? Buck Farmer gets sent down. Buck Farmer doesn't have options, so you start to try to hold on to those guys maybe a little bit longer than you normally would. Why do you cut Jose Barrero? Why do you DFA him? Well, it's because he doesn't have options anymore. That same rationale, that same reason is why I think Nick Martinez finds himself in the bullpen. At some point, Andrew Abbott, you got to give him a longer leash maybe than I think 1 or maybe even 2 starts. Again, I get maybe you could say he hasn't looked great in the spring, but I'm still battling this idea of how much value we put in the spring anyways. David Bell said straight to my face at the Reds Caravan that he doesn't think that spring training stats matter at all. That was his words, not mine. So I lean to start to believe him in that area, but my only point to that is Brandon Williams is going to be back at some point too, and I'd also argue not a terrible idea to have 2 lefties with 3 righties in your rotation in general in case you run into a team that has heavy platoon type situations, so you can hopefully find them in an advantageous lineup for yourself if they are heavily weighted one way or the other with lefty versus righty splits. So we shall find out what they do with Nick Martinez. And I'd also say Nick Martinez today showed maybe why kind of he's a reliever. I'm not saying he was overly horrendous, but he started getting himself into trouble once he got second and definitely third time through the lineup there. And obviously when you're in the bullpen, you don't really deal with that a whole lot. Speaking of the bullpen, I don't know what to make of this. We did this last year, so this is where I'm going to be hesitant. Try to learn from my, not mistakes, because I don't think I made the mistake last year, but I'm going to learn from others' mistakes, is what the parenting thing is. Last year at this time, I remember vividly, there were people for the next 2 to 3 weeks that were on X.com. At that time, it might have been Twitter. To be fair to Twitter, RIP. On the Bluebird app, I remember there even being big media personalities screaming and yelling as to why the only reason that this Reds franchise can't compete is because they don't want to go out and spend money on a bullpen, this bullpen, this bullpen. End of the year, bullpen, arguably one of the best strengths of this team. So I'm trying not to go there, Nick, but the bullpen is a concern. How concerned are you?
Sorry, I was just watching Max Muncy rip the Cardinals' hearts out.
What'd he do? What'd he do? Share.
Two-run home run, 5-4 Dodgers.
Tough.
Sorry.
Tough for them.
Yeah, again, this is going to come across really callous. I just think at this point, TJ Anto's more of a nice story than a good option as a reliever. Yeah. I'm not saying he can't be a good reliever. Again, but I just he came back and he didn't pitch a whole lot in the minors after being out so long. He was okay at the end of last year, didn't wow you. Mm-hmm. He was not that great in spring, but still made his way on the roster. I just think you need to send him down to Triple-A. You need to let him work through whatever he's going through right now. And you have a guy right now in Tony Santillan that absolutely deserves a chance to pitch. He was the best pitcher in spring. He looked dominant. He struck out 3 batters in his first outing at AAA. Now, he did give up a home run, but he did strike out 3 batters and actually looked really, really good until that one mistake pitch that he made. But I just think Tony Santillan's a better option right now, and you need to get him up. You need to get one of Buck Farmer or TJ Antone. You do the easy choice because TJ Antone has options. Buck Farmer doesn't. It's good to keep pitchers around for a very, very long season, so we don't get into what the Reds were doing in September again last year.
No, it's more than fair. Mr. Juan brings me to a point that I want to make really fast. He did say, did CES just start a religion of radical followers called Christianity on Easter? Is this blasphemous? Oh, I don't know. I mean, just saying, there's some things happen for a reason. I am thankful that didn't happen. Well, I don't say I'm thankful. I wish it would have happened while we were on air, obviously, for selfish reasons. I think it would have been good for our show, all that. It is kind of funny that of all the times, it just proves to me that you got to do it. I mean, the universe will punish you. If you don't go live right after the game or you don't go live in the 9th inning, the universe is here to make sure, Nick, that, hey, you think it's 1 of 162, you can take some days off. Guess what? They'll punch you right in the face. But it is nice to know that Christian won on Easter. That's pretty cool. This is where the super chats are tough because you're going to have to cut this out probably. I don't know. But here's where I'm at. Linus Turd Tips. That's his name. That's his name, Nick. He is a nut cutter. And Terry Miller is also a nut cutter. Thank you for being members of our small YouTube channel. Not a very big company. We are very appreciative of you guys becoming members. I think Nick's actually going to do some member-only streams over the next 2 days maybe because we have a lot of things moving on that are not Chatterbox Reds related. That's going to stay the same. But for some of the other shows that we do towards the end of the show, I'm sure we'll share. But nonetheless, let's do this. Let's do Reds MILB. And then we'll jump into what's next. We'll talk a little bit more here on a late night edition of Chatterbox Reds.
All right. Oh, I got the wrong score. Close. It was not in midseason form. They lost. I think they lost 6-4.
It's all right.
Just I gotta fix it. Come on.
Okay. I mean, you fix it. Fix it live on the air.
Bats 4. There we go. We're back. We're back.
Perfect.
All right.
Looks great.
The Bats lost 6-4 today, but the story was Nick Lodolo looked really good in this one. 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, 1 run. Did walk 3, but struck out 8. Gave up a home run. Didn't allow a hit until the 4th inning. Gave up the home run in the 5th inning of work. And only allowed a total of 3 hard hit balls, according to StatCast on the afternoon. Fastball was averaging 93.6. He was at 93.2 last year, so right about where you'd hope he was at. So Nick Lodolo looks great. Everyone that said anything about Nick Lodolo from spring, from his side sessions, it says he looks as good as he's ever looked. Now we'll wait and see, but man, he raises the ceiling of this team, and it's a big if he can come back and stay healthy. Sam Moll made his second rehab appearance. Yep, 2 hits and a run. Didn't walk anyone. He struggled a lot more with his command in the first outing. So good at least see his command better in this one. Not a whole lot offensively in this one. Reese Hines was 1 for 4. Hurtabees did get on base and stole a base. But really not a whole lot. Mike Ford 0 for 4. He started 0 for 8 with the bats. But he did have 2 hard hit balls, at least in this one. So, and then the Reds going up against the Phillies starting tomorrow. Andrew Abbott up against Christopher Sanchez. Had a really nice year last year for the Phillies. This will be game 1 is at, man, we're really all over the place. This is at 6:40, not 6:05. Thought these were good. Thought we were rolling, Trace. I guess not. But
Nick, it's fine.
I mean, the Phillies are a tough team in that ballpark, especially to play. So you definitely are glad that you won 2 of 3 going into there as opposed to losing 2 of 3. And, I don't want to say get 1 win. I mean, I want to be greedy and get 2, but I think if you just get 1 win, at least you keep it moving. Hopefully the Reds could find a way to get 2. And they will be facing, the back end of the Phillies rotation, just like the Reds back end for the first 2 games. And then a really great pitching matchup on Wednesday afternoon. Frankie Montas up against Zach Wheeler.
At some point, we'll find out soon where our confidence lies. But I'd venture to say that how many teams or how many fan bases maybe is the more appropriate term to use here. They see that they have to play the Reds, and they think the same way that we think when you see the Phillies, or maybe not the Braves or the Dodgers per se, but other quality teams, add in the Diamondbacks, add in the Giants, those types of teams in the National League. I'd venture to say more than we'd think, or more than maybe many would expect. The Reds, at this point, I don't want to say you're taking a back seat to nobody, but you're not taking a back seat to as many teams as maybe we have in the past. So I'm wishful thinking. I think that you go in, you win another series in Philadelphia, you keep the thing rolling. And we'll find out ultimately where this team lies when it comes to May, because May is a gauntlet. We talked about time and time again. Stack these wins up so you got a little bit of a cushion in May. And but we did this last year, Nick, and I don't know how much of it really ultimately matters, because last year we're talking about how easy the schedule was down the stretch, and they kind of got through a tough portion of their schedule. And they won a lot of games. You get down to the easy part of your schedule, or what's supposed to be easy, and they don't win as many. So it's baseball. You never know. We'll find out. But I was going to say the biggest news today, yes, it's the win, but damn close is Nick Lodolo. Damn close is Nick Lodolo, because Sam LeCure said the other day that he had heard he had heard the rumors that they think Nick Lodolo looks as good as he's ever looked. That was EVER, ever. You can Google it if you'd like to figure out what that means, but that means there's no time in the history of Nick Lodolo throwing the baseball has he ever been better than what he is right now. If you believe that, great. Maybe you don't believe it. I don't know. But if that has even a semblance of truth, Nick, that is can I say it? I'll say it. That would be the biggest news of the day for me. I know we got to win. I know that counts as a big win. But Nick Lodolo being as good as he's ever been will add up. I can guarantee you that will add up to being more than 1 win throughout the season. The fact that we get both of those things on the same day, some would say, is holy.
Yeah. And Nick Lodolo is the Reds' best pitcher right now. I fully believe that. So if you get him healthy, I mean, you're throwing him into a rotation that I already feel pretty good about. So, I just, we'll keep our fingers crossed. We've heard that from other people. I think the Cowboy said the best he's ever looked. You wonder sometimes those kind of things. who said that first. Does it just start kind of spinning around everyone that's in the organization and going that way? But I also saw Nick Lodolo pitch the last day we were in Arizona. He looked great up until the last inning, kind of the same way today. He was great up until the last inning, gave up a home run. So I think there's good reason why he's not pitching right now. I think they're trying to, get him a little bit deeper to the game, get him more effective deeper into the game. But
no doubt.
Yeah, man, I love Nick Lodolo, and when you lay your head down at night on the pillow, say a prayer this guy can stay healthy, because this guy's you're right. Like, not just one win. I mean, this is a guy that takes you from a team that's a playoff contender to a team that can do damage in the playoffs.
Correct. Especially when you add in the opportunity if we just don't know where we're at yet. We don't know where we're at yet, but it is exciting to think about the idea of Montas, Green, Lodolo, and then some combination thereof of someone overachieving. And I'm not trying to be disrespectful to Martinez. I know he's already in the rotation, but some semblance of overachievement between the three remaining guys of Abbott, Williamson, and Ashcraft. If you can get one overachiever, you get the rest of those other three guys just to be what you hope they're, let's just say they're average as to what they're supposed to be. You got a pretty damn good starting rotation, a pretty damn good one. And health obviously is always a concern, but we shall find out what the future holds when it comes to that. Speaking of pillows, Nick, pretty sure we won.
Oh, yeah. It did make it back from Cincinnati.
Oh, let's see it. Maybe.
Here we go.
Here, Nick. I'm gonna.
Oh, we got it. It's kind of. Oh yeah, there we go. Oh wow, full screen. Nick.
You gotta be careful with Nick, because Nick sometimes he'll hide somewhere, and what'll happen is he'll have something somewhere in the house that wasn't in frame that he doesn't want to be on stream, and he'll be all mad at me. He's like, "Well, I didn't know it was going to be full screen." It's like, well, hopefully that was good. By the way, I love the March Madness thing right there. That was big league. I don't know where you got that. Where I don't know where you got that from, but if you could share, that'd be great. Well, look at that thing. I mean, that thing's big league. That's a sticker or that's a poster?
It's a poster. So I'll walk you through the process here. Do this every single year.
Wow.
No free ads.
We got traditions now.
Yeah, I started this like 8 years ago, and it makes the tournament so much better. Now I haven't caught up since opening day. I haven't caught up this weekend. It was great the first two rounds. But so you go on Staples, you order a blueprint. You send the bracket to them. You upload the bracket, the PDF. You order a blueprint, because a blueprint is only like $7 for like the giant poster.
Yeah,
I think it's 3 foot by 4 foot. And they'll print it to you. Go pick it up the next day, $7-8. You have a full bracket, put it on the wall. It adds something to it when you're physically filling them in on your big bracket as the tournament goes on. So yeah, that's the way to do it. But you got to do a blueprint, because if you do poster, it's like $40. Like there's a big difference. But shout out to whoever was the person at Staples that walked me through that process and got me addicted to it every year.
Love that. Also love that Terry Miller, Jeremy Gray, both Nutcutter, part of Nutcutter Nation. I see Drew Garrison, I think I seen earlier somehow. Sometimes I look over the chat and just like I barely see things. I think Drew Garrison's out here like fan funding. He's out here just fan funding memberships right now. Like Drew Garrison, he knows a way to the heart, man. I tell you what, this guy's he's a nut cutter of all nut cutters. I got to figure it out. I know he's on. He's got his own successful stuff.
Yeah, you did it.
No, I didn't do it. I said successful stuff.
I did it with
I said
Shay
successful
last
stuff.
year. You did it.
No, I didn't do it. I said successful stuff
on Easter.
Anyway, I know he has his own stuff, but man, at some point, the Drew Garrison Chatterbox has to find a way to make a thing. But yeah, hey, it is what it is. There's only one way. There's only one, Yeah, happens to the best of us, as they say. But any final parting thoughts here? I know we kind of have an incredible amount of people in the chat. I just want to say, if you comment, not in the chat right now, you comment on this stream's video, I want the final score tomorrow. Just the score. I don't need a home run. I just need a score. You tell me the final score tomorrow, and then you come in the live chat and let me know that you had the live score correct in the comments from the previous day, and I will also fund a membership for you. That way you can get members-only stuff this week, which is going to be a big thing. Before we go, Nick, do you have any final thoughts on some member-only stuff, maybe the next day or two, for those that might be curious?
Yeah, I think I'm going to do a members-only stream tomorrow afternoon. I did forget that I have to do something for the other job tonight, and we had a late show, so I'm going to have to finish that into the morning tomorrow.
Fair enough.
But yeah, I'm going to do something tomorrow afternoon, and then I think I might just do a whole off the bench on Tuesday for everyone. So we'll see.
It. All right,
I'll keep you posted. But yeah, we'll have some content the next 2 days with you guys Prascoing it up. Tell the folks a little bit about that if you're comfortable. I
am more than comfortable. So on watchcbox.com, or you can go to chatterboxsports.com and then you can click on the CBox Plus. Essentially, Prasco Park's hosting something called the Nuxall Classic, obviously named after Joe Nuxall, where UC, Xavier, Wright State, and Miami, they all play. The weather looks horrendous, so we'll see what it ultimately ends up happening there. But on Tuesday night, we will be live streaming. First game starts at 2 o'clock. Miami plays Wright State at 2, and then the 6 o'clock slate is University of Cincinnati playing Xavier. A little bit of a rivalry there for those that might not know, but they will be playing, and it'll all be on Chatterbox. Which, speaking of which, to be honest, I've always downplayed us a little bit when it comes to broadcasting because I know how hard it is to do I got over on the right hand corner, no free ads, but I do have the NASCAR on right now. I look at the NASCAR broadcast and I think inevitably like how ridiculous that is, how unbelievably talented you have to be to broadcast that. So I always think Chatterbox, yeah, we're kind of like these low-level broadcasters. Then I seen the clip of the Louisville Bats game the other night, and I was thinking, maybe we're not. I mean, I don't know. Maybe we're like the no free ads, but we're like the Honda Accord of broadcasting. We're not the Maseratis. We're not the Cadillacs. We're not maybe the high-end, but we'll get you where you need to go, and we'll do a pretty decent job of doing it. We're reliable, blah, blah, blah. Maybe, again, no free ads, Honda Accord. I'm sure there's some other ones out there that you could say are just the same as the old Accord, but that was the first car I had. Shout out, 200-something thousand miles. I think I paid, my wife paid $2,000 for it, and it worked. It did shut off on the highway, Nick. I had to turn it off, turn it back on. Back when I was working at Starbucks, but that's enough about my old previous life.
You worked at Starbucks?
I did, yeah. Yeah, with a college degree, nonetheless.
I worked at Starbucks with the college degree.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Yes, my first job out of college was a manager at Starbucks.
A manager? Were you on the lines, Nick? Were you having to actually make the drinks?
I was on the lines. I was a manager in name only.
Holy smokes! I've been doing this for you this long, and we've never known that. That's why you're a getter. That makes it all make sense now. I get it all. That's 162. When I called you up, I said, well, let's do all 162. You went back to the barista days, and you were like, that, I can grind it out. If I can grind out Starbucks, I can grind this out. And there's some truth to that. There's some truth to that.
Starbucks is hard, man.
Really hard.
They think it's a glamorous job.
Hell no. No, you got to be a dog.
Brutal.
You got to be a dog.
You got to work till 1 a.m. some nights, and then the next 2 days later, you're coming in at 4 a.m. Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, we've done nothing but give free ads this whole entire show. But I will tell you, working there made me more prepared than any class I took in college. No disrespect, but just saying. All right, we have a dunk to do. Would have loved to do this in real time, as I said before, but we do appreciate this many people watching on a Sunday night. All of you are the best. Continue to do us a favor. Give us 5-star reviews on the podcast. Listen to the podcast in the mornings. Help us any way you can. Spread the word. Because the more people in the chat, the more opportunities you have, if you want to call it, of having an enjoyable time in the chat, of just talking Reds baseball. I think the other day, Alex Wallace sent out, what did he send out? He sent out some kind of screenshot of where we were at on opening day last year all the way to this year, and it is obviously vastly different. And I think, like, when I looked at that, it's like, okay, you can take that one of two ways. Like, oh, look how good we are. It's like, I genuinely don't think it's that as much as I do is just like, we get on here, we're real people, we talk about Reds baseball. Yes, we have opinions. We might differ. We're not polar opposites per se, but we do have different ideologies on maybe how you should go about playing baseball, but whatever. Point is that we've more or less hopefully created a place where you can come and enjoy something that you love, and you guys can kind of help us all grow it together. And if you can invite people, tell people to watch after the games, we want to continue to make it as entertaining as possible. And part of that dumb entertainment that we do is me dunking a basketball. Now, how in the world it ever got to the point where people want me to dunk a basketball, or they're looking forward to me dunk a basketball, I don't know. But I'm going to deliver what the people want. Nick, you have something to add?
Yeah, pre-dunk, I've seen some comments in the chat with the score. It's got to be in after the stream ends.
Correct.
You got to physically comment on the actual video. We can't go back through, and there's a million chats on here. We can't go back and see that. So after the stream ends, click the video and do an actual comment below it. I want to make sure everyone that does it is counted that wants to do it. And then I also got one quick shout out.
Please.
I'm gonna do this on the pod tomorrow, but I got a text from a good guy, Michael. Met him last year at the Reds Guardians game, and it made my day this morning. I got this text. He said that him and his son got in the car this morning to go drive to church, and his son, who was 11 years old, his name is Aaron, said, "Dad, can we listen to Chatterbox Reds?" I mean, I've never had a cooler text in my life than that. So shout out to Michael, shout out to Aaron. That absolutely made my day. And for me, that's the kind of stuff why I do this and why I love doing this.
There's no doubt. There's no doubt. Getting stopped by all of you that watch this show when we're at games or we're at Reds Fest or we're at the Caravan, it makes it worth it, man. It makes it worth it. It's a lot. I'm not going to say it's not a lot. Getting on here after every single game is kind of lunacy. It's a little lunacy. But you know what? I love the Reds. So do you. And I just visualize the day that we get to the promised land. I know that that's maybe a pun that some would say is kind of maybe rightful on a day like today. But I do think we're going to get to the promised land. And maybe it is Christian Encarnacion Strand that will lead us there. I don't know. But I just want to say happy Easter to all of you. Thank you for joining us on a late night edition of Chatterbox Reds. No, I did not forget about the dunk. We're going to do that now. And I just want to say one last time, thank you. I love you. I'm going to do my very best. Dear Jesus, let me make this dunk because it would be a really bad way to end the day. But if that's the way you want it to be, then that's the way it will be. Amen. All right. Here we go. Love you. Nick, clear the middle graphic. I am going to do my best not to embarrass myself. Here we go, everybody. Love you.